자, 아침 4시 반인데 뉴욕타임즈 이틀분을 한번 크레이지 리딩으로 한번 읽겠습니다. 조금씩 여러 기사를 읽는 겁니다. Every day 9,000 more. Pace of unlawful crossings at southern U.S. border has nearly doubled since April. Despite the new border barriers and thicket of razor wire, the risk of deportation and pleas for patience, a resurgent tide of men, women, and children is not waiting. Driven by desperation, families and individuals are pushing across the southern border of the United States, and past new efforts by the Biden administration to keep migrants waiting until they secure hard-to-get appointments to enter the nation with permission. Tiny homes are a hit, at least on TikTok. Videos of micro-apartments collect millions of viewers, but few want to live on. In a bustling area of South London, near a busy underground station and the web of a bus route, is a tiny house in a dumpster. Shikily art looted by Nazi is returned. The work's recipients and the heirs of the owner was murdered at Dachau. Mr. G was killed in 1941, and his wife was also sent to a death camp in 1942. NBA wants the teams to rest its stars less. Managing players' lows is a source of frustration of fans and broadcasters. The advent of an in-season tournament is yet another sign that the league knows its regular season needs a jolt. Re-education of the college dining hall campus are coping with the surge of students with dietary restriction. We are your home. We are where you live, where you eat, where you spend time with your friend, said E, a registered dietitian at Vanderbilt University. Thanks to AI, the internet is about to get much worse. Online spaces are being polluted by dubious content generated by computers. We have commons on the internet too. Despite all of its toxic corners, it is still full of a vibrant portion that serve the public good. Places like Wikipedia and the Reddit forums, where volunteers often share knowledge in good faith and work hard to keep bad actors at bay. Famous people just don't know how to say I'm sorry. The important word isn't it's apologize. Why is it so hard to say sorry convincingly and mean it? That's the question I have after several weeks of famous people apologizing for bad behavior. They have apologized for not honoring the writers' strike. They have apologized for speaking up on behalf of a rapist. They have apologized for belittling magicians who are not the white man. They have apologized belatedly and begrudgingly for groping and vaping in a theater. The dollar still has a plentiful swagger. But the Federal Reserve's decision on Wednesday to hold the rate at an elevated level is likely to buttress the dollar in a foreign exchange market. Global ripples. Oil and the dollar have had a close and contentious relationship. During the 1970s oil shocks, prices soared and vast sums of money flowed from oil-consuming countries like the United States to oil producers like Saudi Arabia and back to the United States as investment. For Spain's team, World Cup glory was swiftly stolen. And yet this is not a triumph for the underdog forces of all that is right and virtuous over their uncaring oppressor, or more accurately, that is not how it feels. Anthems now sung by one man, the last active member of a beloved Brazilian band embodies his spirit. They represent an insurgent Brazil that, despite being a victim of the worst colonial ills, never gave up on producing beauty, stricken but far from silenced. Yeah, the problem with being a book critic, Dorothy wrote, is that the work gets in the way of your reading. Jonathan's posthumous memoir, Father and Son, is a book I would have tracked down even if this weren't my job. Why millennials are flocking to Mongolia. In era of Instagram travel, some young people desire less curated experience. The world is getting smaller, and everyone's looking for the new frontier, said that as a 36-year-old living in Bali who had visited Mongolia 8 times. A previous group had wrecked our SUV a 3,000-mile trip on dirt tracks, had destroyed the bottom of the car. A murder in Canada is a U.S. issue. If India is found responsible, there must be consequence. Gold is deadly poison. Miners in poor nations extracted the precious metal by using toxic mercury. The toxic element that mixes with the gold dust and forms an amalgam he can plug out of the sludge. At peace, doing exactly what he wants to do. Jimmy Carter, nearly 99, find joy in an extended and unplanned farewell. Whatever the reason, 7 months after entering hospice care, Jimmy Carter is still hanging on, thanks you very much, and is in fact heading toward his 99th birthday in just under a week. China's crisis in real estate hits financial behemoths. Shadow banks investors want a reluctant Beijing to come to the rescue. An accountant in northeast China deposited her life savings and received a letter guaranteeing her investment in a trust fund. Workers at a state-owned utility pooled money from friends and relatives believing that their investment was backed by the government. A man sank $140,000 into an account that he was told would make a 10% annual return. They are among the hundreds of thousands of Chinese investors confronting a distressing reality. The anguish of eco-anxiety, feeling of pervading dread about climate change has become more widespread. Europe is a continent on the verge of a nervous breakdown. It's hard to stay interested in world problems when there won't be a world. Every summer will be hotter. It will always be worse. Army hospital treats wounded volunteers. U.S. facility in Germany taking American patients hurt in Ukraine conflict. Though the number so far is small, currently 14, it is a notable new step in the United States deepening involvement in the conflict. The Ukrainians, they do the best they can, but there are so many wounded. Big food companies fall far short of emission goals. This has got to be about performance, not the promises. We've had 5 years of companies making promises. The nostalgia trap. You can't repeat the past. You can just play dress up in it, dress up in it. Fundamental conflict in weighing gag order. Real precedent available in balancing free speech against the threat of violence. Everything about these cases is making new law because there are so many gaps in the law. Indictment undercuts attack on Justice Department. Charges against Democrats come as Republicans claim the right is being assaulted. The partner who engineered Deion Sanders' move to the coaching. A constant swatch. Mourinho persuaded him to apply for the job at Jackson State. He took it from there and has been dazzling the sports world ever since. I was like, he's in the middle of a game for his kids. He's not leaving. If it happens, call me. We'll figure it out, she said. A mother in Canada is a U.S. problem. If India is caught lying about its role in the killing, it will have damaged its international standing far more than Niger ever could have. Isolation isn't the answer to America's problems with China. The backlash against trade with the Chinese should not cause the U.S. to retreat from the rest of the world. Paris was only a reprieve. It's just around the time your parents died that you start noticing signs of your own incipient decline. AI will make the internet much worse. contribution to a public space may be taken and monetized. How contrast solid is brand at home. Cities of scandals turned once the rabid airline into object of widespread fury. Regulators say Qantas sold tickets for more than 8,000 flights that it knew would never take off. Troubled firm had stopped paying its investors. In a message to investors this month, an employee of Tatang Wealth Management, a company controlled by Zhongji that sells Zhonggrong products, perpetuated the idea that the government would not abandon them. Maneuvers expected to cement Fox's succession. Some observers anticipate renewed Murdoch effort to merge with the new corporation. Two people close to Mr. Murdoch, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, believe that he will make another attempt to reunite the company. Paris was lovely, but it was only a reprieve. The world is arranged to discreetly conceal the bleak side of life from us, and we are complicit. You begin to appreciate the unsung pleasure of not hurting. Biden to Netanyahu, you've got homework to do. With the age comes wisdom, and that's good for handling high-stake diplomatic encounters. Speaking to Israel's leader, the president was like a magician at work. In Japan, fall means formality return. Personal air conditioners hung on the lanyards, handheld electric fans, and the collars filled with cold packs are common accessories. Exhibit ponders complication of returning stolen art. A K are considered a spiritual object in Bali. The word text at Mauritius explains, but no one had sought the return of this object, perhaps because taken out of its context, the crease had lost its meaning. Melting ice uncovers an ancient arrow, showing of glaciers offer archaeologists a closer look at the long-lost world. NBA wants teams to rest its stars less. Managing players' loads is a source of frustration for fans and broadcasters. Teams and players said they were following the science. Fears grow in enclave retaken by Azerbaijan. Its authorities deny rumors of revenge, though people lack food and electricity. A real Armenian could never live with the Azerbaijanis. Can you live in a place where you can get killed at any moment? Europe finds it's not easy to arm the Ukraine. Before the war in Ukraine, some officials and experts estimated that European manufacturers produced 230,000 rounds of 155 millimeter ammunition annually. The scene pen goes to Ukraine. The actor, co-director, documentary featuring Volodymyr Zelensky. Biden sharpened his focus on Trump. President hopes engaging now will lead the Democrats to a shared sense of mission. Once Democratic pollsters said it was inevitable that Mr. Trump would energize Democratic voters if he wins the Republican nomination again, spreading havoc had the right that brings Washington to its knees. Yet they have styled themselves as a wrecking crew aimed at a nation's institution on a variety of fronts. There are no boundaries, no forbidden zones. They go where relatively junior members have appeared to tread in the past. Fame is weird and she knows it. In a cheeky cabaret show, Brooke Shield recounts a roller coaster career. Ambivalence is where real life happens. I mean, the point of it all is that we are not one thing or the other. We are human beings. Not all killers wear capes. The appearance of yet another enthusiastic and erudite history from Simon is an event always to be welcome. TV networks last the best hope for the boomers. At CBS, we love older viewers. They watch a lot of television. Food giants investigated on their use of child labor. Inquiries followed reported that young migrants were doing dangerous work. Many meat processing companies outsource cleaning to sanitation firms. After vocal change, a meth debut, Sok Jong Beck began his opera career as a baritone. Now he's a tenor. A star the Met was waiting for. The house has built Florencia around the soprano and Eileen Perez. Psychoanalyst in chief. Does faith or God offer any promise of redemption? China keeps trying to crush them. Their movement keeps growing. Underground historians work under the shadow of the Communist Party to keep the truth alive. Anti-racism center faces layoff and an inquiry. A funding slowdown and a leader who set up a national debate. A billionaire's expensive war on plastics. Michael Bloomberg, founder of climate activism, is working to block construction of new plants. Just because it's good economically for you, if it's killing people, I don't think we want to do that. Are good jobs returning to America? Will they last? Manufacturing jobs were good for the region unions. Are the United Auto Workers justified in seeking higher wages and benefits? Definitely. Is the union overreaching? I don't know, partly because I'm not an expert on auto industry economics, partly because the actual agreement when it comes may be more modest than the union's current bargaining position. Still, I think it's important to understand the context. Both Donald Trump and now Joe Biden promised to revitalize U.S. manufacturing. Trump, we did a chaotic trade war. Didn't deliver. Biden didn't deliver. Biden, with his embrace of industrial policy, seems to having more success, although we don't yet know how many manufacturing jobs will be created by the surge in manufacturing construction. Go outside, sink your feet into the dirt and engage with the world. The natural world had stories to tell if you listen closely. How a U.S. crisis of migration skyrocketed. All of this is a big problem for Europe than the United States. European aging is more advanced. Africa's population will boom for decades. In 50 years, there may be 5 Africans for every European, while Latin America's birth rate have declined. China keeps trying to crush them. Their movement keeps growing. Spark has become a source of inspiration to those who follow in its creator's footsteps, making it a testament to the limits of even the harshest measure to crush resistance. 조금 읽었네.